Cordy, and in this video I'm going to look at some fuzzes on the Helix stuff and some things that I've tried and things that I find work quite well for me. So first of all, this preset that I'm dealing with is the Princeton preset. It's just using everything basically stock. So we've got Princeton block, then we've got a Princeton cab with a 47 condenser, and then a 63 spring at the end. So nothing particularly crazy, and it sounds like this. So what I'm trying to do is find a fuzz that kind of works nicely. So I found a few. Let's just look at what happens. So drop in a fuzz. So we'll start off with the arbitrator. So I think this is like a fuzz face type, and probably what you've found in the past if you're a single coil user like me. Got kind of a bit of a fizzy thing going on now, especially if we were to use a 57 mic. I'm gonna guess you're getting quite a lot of the fizziness that I think a lot of people don't particularly like. So I don't have a high cut employed here, by the way. So what I found is that by putting a Timmy after the fuzz, some interesting things happen. So I've got these settings, so the level's at 4.8, bass cut and treble are halfway, and the gain is at 5.2, and so it's doing that kind of really dirty, sputtery, fuzzy thing without the fizz, and I can use that treble cut to dial back in more high end if I want. Or dial out more if I want as well. So I'm finding that gives me kind of a more of a feel that I want to play. I find that most fuzzes kind of in the mid-range can be a little bit flat or scooped, and for me that doesn't work so well with my lead playing. So that's the arbitrator fuzz, and you can obviously chuck that up a bit more. So that one's got kind of a vintage fuzz face kind of vibe. The pocket fuzz is also cool. I found that one. So all of these fuzzes with single coils, I find you want to kind of crank them up a bit. Pocket fuzz is more like a drive to me. It's got kind of a raw feel to it though. The big horn fuzz is one of the new ones, and this is kind of cool as well. Definitely a little on the raw side. finding that having this Timmy afterwards is basically giving most of the fuzzes a more of a flavour that I like. So one that I found that I thought was really cool was the Industrial Fuzz, and I feel like it's doing kind of a peak corner sheet type thing, where you've got this kind of fuzzy thing going on where it cuts out, so you can control how much it's doing that with this gate control. So you might want to be kind of careful with this gate. Obviously it cuts a lot of sustain if you've got it up high. And then as you get higher up the neck where you've got lower output, things really start to... But yeah, something to try is maybe running a boost in front of that. So yeah, that one's quite a fun one. And with the gate off, it's still doing kind of a choking thing. But I'm finding it all way more pleasant with the Timmy after. Maybe a little bit more like what I'd hope a fuzz would sound like into like a cranked amp. Yeah, those are some suggestions that I might have. The Thrifter has also got a little bit like that kind of vibe going on. But I'm kind of liking also what that does to the notes in a way. And I think we can probably change. But up on the high end, that one's doing some really... some really cool things. So basically what I found is that if I run a Timmy after any of the fuzzes, if I'm going into a clean amp, basically things respond a bit more closely to how I'd expect. In the real world I don't use fuzzes too much anyway, but this is how I'm finding some fuzz tones that sound like they're on that sputtery edge of disaster or whatever, but that aren't really harsh in the high end and that are kind of fun to play and feel good under the fingers still. So I'll drop these into the folder. Those are my favourites: the Thrifter, the Industrial, and the Arbitrator. The Bighorn's also cool, and I think also the Thai Octavia does a thing, you know, close to that octave thing. I think also there'd probably be one in the Legacy. There's an octave fuzz, and see. And that feels to me a little better under the fingers than what a real octave fuzz generally does. They kind of don't have much sustain in my experience. So anyway, yeah, I'll drop a bunch of these options in and I'll play around with them in the intro. Hopefully that was vaguely useful. If you want to like and subscribe, that would be kind of cool. But that's kind of my tip for fuzz with the Helix. Run a Timmy after it and use that treble cut to control some of those high ends. Yeah, cheers.